Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I talk about Fairbanks, real estate, Alaska, and so much more. Today, I'm just gonna give you a quick, fast, good market update on what's going on in real estate here in Fairbanks, Alaska. To keep things simple, it's looking good and it ain't looking good at the same time. And I know you guys love it when I say opposite things that don't go together, but here's what I'm trying to say. It's looking good because houses are starting to sell quicker and quicker. Just a couple weeks ago, the average days on market was somewhere around 60 days. So it almost took 2 full months before somebody would actually write you an offer. Now these are statistics, these are all averaged out. There were still houses that sold before they hit the market or within a couple of days of hitting the market. And there were houses that would take years to sell. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everything will sell in 2 weeks, but the average, which is a good statistical anomaly, is 2 weeks, 14 days. Inventory is kind of the problem right now. So normally in January, February, we do have a slower season here in Fairbanks, Alaska. And what I mean by that is most of our locals actually do not sell their houses in the winter because nobody wants to move with ice and snow and negative 30-degree temperatures. That being said, it's like -5 today. So a lot of the locals kind of hit the brakes, pause their sales transactions for the winter, hunker down, hibernate, or go on vacation. And then when spring comes around, they put that market back on the property. And in order to do that, knowing that spring is probably mid-May, the best time to put your house on the market is right around April 1st. And you usually see a huge spike in inventory on that day because 14 days later, then the 45-day for the transaction period puts you in springtime when it's easier to move, when you got asphalt and concrete outside again. Temperatures are warm enough that you can leave your garage door open for a couple hours, moving furniture in and out. At -30, you pretty much have to open that garage door, drag everything outside, and then close it again, let the garage heat back up, and do that in about 10-minute intervals to prevent any freezing and damage to things like boilers and so on. So not to get too sidetracked, let's talk about a couple averages on active properties on the market, and then we'll work backwards into pending and sold properties. So currently we have 45 homes for sale on the market. Yeah, not 450, 45. That is insane. Usually this time of year, we're looking anywhere from 89 to 115 properties. And I'll even put a little asterisk next to that 45 because a couple realtors are double listing properties. So single family home with a mother-in-law is also being sold as a duplex, depending on which way you want to look at it. So I would say we're probably closer to 40, 38 properties in reality on the market. Now these are homes. I'm not looking at land. We have about 400 land listings. We sell those year round. So if you're interested in land, we have a bunch of it. This also doesn't include multifamily above a duplex. So it doesn't include triplexes, fourplexes, apartment buildings, or commercial properties like warehouses, office space, and so on. These are strictly single family homes, condos, and duplexes. The average purchase price right now is about $339,000, which is not bad considering our actual average is about $360 for the market. Now, if you're looking in past sales, we'll get into that in a little bit, but that is the average listing price of properties on the market right now for purchase. Again, a lot of that is skewed by the inventory. If we get one $1 million house on the market, that number will skyrocket up to about 400,000 because of that equation on how we get averages, right? You add them all up, you divide it by the number of houses on the market. So with low inventory, you're gonna see that weekly average fluctuate a lot, because if we sell the 2 expensive houses and we don't sell that one really cheap house, that whole average is gonna get skewed very quickly. Moving on to the next thing, and so the good number here is the median, it's 335. So having a median and an average number that is about the same shows that the market is kind of balanced, meaning we have a bunch of properties up here and a bunch down here because these two numbers are pretty close to the middle. Average is, again, what I told you, averaging them all up, dividing by number of options, and the median is just the middle. So having the middle and the average be pretty close is a great indicator for some stability in the market. Now, of course, the main driver in all active properties is going to be the interest rate. You know, buyers are always going to want to buy houses. People want to buy their own home to do with whatever they please. The issue is really affordability up here. And it's everywhere in the nation right now, and it's due to that interest rate. As of today, the interest rate is about 6.75. Just last week, it was 6.5. The Fed's cutting rates constantly, but the market's just not reacting positively due to news. Let's be honest. It's Trump tariff this, it's war over here. In the end, once we kind of get everything on track and things are moving forward, we do expect those interest rates to slowly come down throughout the summer. So Two different methods here. Buy a house now, refinance later, or wait until the interest rate comes down before you can buy your house. The issue with that is we're still expecting a continuous growth of between 2.5% and 5% for properties over the next couple of years. And this year, all indications show that the growth is going to be about 3%. So if you do wait, yes, your interest rate might come down by 1.5%, but your purchase price might go up by $15,000 to $20,000. So keep that in mind. I don't want to steer you one way or another because everyone's personal decisions are their own. But if you find a house that you love right now, it'd be a good time to lock that in and then refinance here in a couple weeks or months after everything gets straightened out a little bit. So next I want to break down Fairbanks versus North Pole. If you watch any of my videos, you know that North Pole is a small suburb of Fairbanks. The entire area here is about 100,000 people, and it's really about 80,000 in Fairbanks and about 20,000 in North Pole. The benefit to Fairbanks is you're closer to all the entertainment, shopping venues and all that stuff. But in North Pole, you get a lot more land, privacy, and newer homes, since North Pole's really been growing over the last decade or so, and Fairbanks really boomed back in the late 70s and early 80s. Pipeline days, right? The Alaskan pipeline, that's really what got Fairbanks booming. Before that, it was gold. So we're a natural resource rich environment here, and that's really what drives our economy. So keeping that in mind, if you're military coming up here, or you want some more land and privacy, but you don't mind driving extra 15 minutes to get to Costco, North Pole might be for you. You're gonna get a newer property, a larger yard, and a little bit more privacy. That being said, if you really wanna go for luxury homes, some hilltop properties with great views, riverfront properties with access to the Chena River, or maybe just a older historical home, Fairbanks is going to be the better option for you. So breaking that down, Fairbanks right now has about 30 out of those 45 listings, and the average price is about $313. The main driver here is that age and the fact that it's a little bit more urban here than in North Pole. So you got Fairbanks even can be divided into rural and urban, because once you're inside the city, everything is going to be urban. You're looking at your neighbor's house, you're going to have a very small yard, maybe fenced and maybe not. But then we have the entire hills to the north and to the west, Chena Ridge and Farmer Loop area, and the Goldstream Valley, and that really brings you into some rural living. Some areas might not even have internet and cell phone service once you go too far north, but everything that I just mentioned, that Goldstream Valley and south area, is definitely going to have internet connectivity, cell phone service, all of your normal utilities, maybe not city water, city sewer, but you'll still have a well and septic and all that stuff. So more traditional homes just set on 1 acre to 5, and usually a great view if you're up on the ridge. The inversion is something we often talk about too. Once you get above a certain temperature, because of all that cold weather that we have, it actually gets warmer the higher up you go in the mountains. You would think it's the opposite. North Pole, on the other hand, like I said, Fairbanks, 30 homes, $313,000. North Pole, we have 14 homes with an average home price of $400,000. Well, why is that? Because again, those are the newer homes. Most of these are built from 2000 and later. There's a bunch of homes right now built in 2018, 17, or even 2020 due to military moving. And that's why North Pole, when I first moved here in 2016, North Pole was $20,000 cheaper than Fairbanks. It was a place that kind of overflow people lived, right? Or specifically the military lived, or people that grew up in North Pole. Over the years, that's changed dramatically, and North Pole now is actually more expensive than Fairbanks because you get more land, you get a newer home, and you're gonna get something that's a little bit more modern. It's very common to buy a home in Fairbanks that needs remodeling. In North Pole, it's usually paint and carpet only. The appliances are gonna be newer, things are just gonna be in a little bit better shape. But if you can look at the difference there between that, Fairbanks at 30 properties, North Pole at 14. Fairbanks at $313,000 and North Pole's at $400,000. So stay tuned, hop on homes.com or my website or anything like that, and you can definitely start looking at the differences in these properties, and you'll know some pretty quick. Now, that's active property. That's what's on the market today that you could buy if you were interested. Let's talk a little bit about pending properties. So right now, just since the beginning of the year, we have 35 properties pending at an average of $355,000. So that indicates to us that the average price of the homes are going up. Keep in mind the current average active property is $339 and the pendings are $355. As soon as they close out and sell, they become comps that realtors and appraisers are going to use to keep evaluating the value of properties. So as we see the number of properties closing going up, you're going to see the property values on the market go up as well. And that's where we're getting that 3 to 4% increase that we're thinking we're going to see over the next year. And then this is the kicker, sold properties. So as of today, full disclosure, it is February 5th. You're probably not going to see this for a couple days because I still got to send it off to my editors to get all chopped up and made pretty. But we have sold 61 properties with an average price of $375. So that is pretty impressive considering it's only been a month so far. And those 61 properties closed in the last 30 days. That shows that the comps are at $375 on average, right? So again, we got to break that down and look at what houses sold and what they were worth and what amenities they had, what locations they were in. But in all of 2024, we sold 1,125 properties with an average price of $323. And right now $1,000. And right now the average is at $375. So there's about a $50,000 increase from last year to this year already. A lot of that's driven by the pent-up demand. And you're gonna hear this word pent-up demand a lot. What does that actually mean? It means people want to buy houses. They just don't have any houses to buy, either affordability or preference. They do matter, but that is the main thing that is deterring people from buying. So there's a lot of demand on the market, but the supply is hurting. And as soon as we see a ramp up in supply, then we'll see these numbers flatten out a little bit. There's gonna be more negotiations, price drops. As soon as there's more competition on the market, you're gonna see the days on market going up as well. Possibly, unless that pent-up demand is released. Once that pent-up demand is released, you will see a little bit of chaos. Just like in 2021 when the interest rates were at 2.5, 3%, all that stuff, we really saw a huge boom in the market. And people that could never afford homes before were purchasing their first house. There are a lot of people here in Fairbanks right now that want to buy homes. They just can't afford the mortgage. So as soon as that affordability factor gets erased from the equation, you're gonna see home values skyrocket because people don't mind paying you for your house. They mind paying the bank for the interest payments. And as soon as we alleviate that, we're gonna see a really good year this year. So no matter if you're a buyer or a seller, if you have any questions, comments, if you wanna discuss anything that I mentioned here, have your own input, go ahead and put it down in the comments. I'd love it if you could support me. I'm just a local realtor here trying to do my thing. Hit the subscribe and like button. It means the world to me. I'm brand new to this. Hopefully you're enjoying my content. And we're gonna do some more fun stuff over the next year. Take care. Thank you. Nic Williams out.